welcome back to the MotorFab YouTube channel. Thanks all for tuning in. My apologies, this episode is a day late. I was a bit out this week, I was a bit busy. So it was my birthday. Wednesday was my birthday. Thanks to all of those who wished me a happy birthday. Appreciate the support. And so that has thrown me a little bit out with the Monaro and the channel, but I'm catching up now. This episode you'll see I got the difficult two runners out of the way, the headers that we all knew were going to be tough, and I got them, they're done. So they're all tacked together anyway. So I'll finish next episode, we'll get in and tackle the rest of the pipes together and get that sorted out and get those pipes on the way. I didn't shot in this episode, but I'm just about finished welding up sump finally. And yeah, what else has been happening? Actually, just today, this morning went down to Cooley. For those of you who aren't from the Gold Coast, Cooley is a beautiful little coastal town right on the beach there. Beautiful, probably one of the best beaches on the Gold Coast. And normally every year they have a thing called Cooley. I don't know, it's changed name. It used to be called Cooley Rocks, and then they changed the name to something stupid. I think I can't remember, but we all just call it what we want now. But what it is they close off the whole town centre, and it's just full of custom cars and hot rods and stuff, pre-70 something. It's really, really, really cool. It's a good weekend. Go down every year and have a look around. It was cancelled this year due to COVID, but a lot of people had obviously paid for their accommodation and stuff, because you've got to book like a year before to get accommodation there. So I went down for breakfast, and there was cars everywhere. There was heaps of cool cars. So I filmed a bit of that, and I'll put it in this episode. So enjoy that. It's something a little bit different. It was, just spur of the moment. So there's a couple of cool cars down there this morning. It was good to see. What are we today? We're June something, 6th, 7th, whatever it is. So you've only got a couple of weeks left. June 21 is a cutoff for your VPW discount. I spoke to the guys down at VPW through the week, and they're really excited. There's been heaps of orders that have taken advantage of the MotorFab discount. There's a couple of orders over $5,000. So good on you guys. You saved yourselves $500, legends. Keep them coming. Enjoy while you can. June 21st is the cutoff. There it is. I don't even have to write it. It's on the wall, but it's probably backwards or something. MotorFab is the code word. June 21 is the cutoff. Get in and make the most of it. Get on their website and have a look what they've got. It makes building a car so much easier, and they're so quick with the freight too. So I've been ordering parts for the Monaro, and you just jump on the site. You don't have to talk to anyone or any of that sort of fast. You don't have to go through eBay and fight with the 5,000 Chinese listings there are for a million cheap, nasty things that'll break that you don't need. VPW, it's all in one website, and you can get on there and get your parts, and they send them out pretty quick, which is really good. And what else is happening? We're getting closer and closer to the race that we're supposed to have this car finished for. I'm working my butt off on that, so I'll get that all happening. Bit of a weld tech tip in there for you guys this episode. Big exciting news finally. I've gotten in. Get on the website. Here it is here. Motorfab.com. Pre-sales are open for shirts and hoodies. Not these ones, the new Monaro ones, which are really cool. Everybody's been hounding me for that. When can we get a shirt? When can we get a hoodie? So now, their artwork's all done. They're in print. They'll be ready very soon. So I've opened the site for pre-sales. So start ordering now. Get your order in before the quantities run out, and you've got to wait for the next lot to get printed. www.motorfab.com. I'll put a link up. I think I've already put a link in the description. I'll put another link in the description anyway. And jump on there, order your shirts and hoodies. Keep this Monaro dream alive. So yeah, enjoy, especially the hoodies for winter. That'd be pretty cool. And I don't know, have so many people hounding me for stuff. That's a good thing. And I really appreciate. There's quite a lot of sold already, just through Facebook posts that I put up the other day. I'm really grateful for that. Thank you very much for supporting the channel and the build and some of the things that I'm trying to make happen. So yeah, again, absolutely humbled by the response and support. So get in quick, because the jumpers and shirts are selling really quick. So order away, and we'll get them printed and get them out to you as soon as possible. So yeah, enjoy the episode. Don't forget, like and subscribe. Here we go, this is the start of it. Inside this box lays the start of some painful hours. Header plates. Actually ordered the wrong ones first. Got square ports because I got them to suit the old peanut ports originally. So I've reordered those with the round port. Now, just when you start headers, having that fit in there, having the right header plate to suit the tube. A lot of times you got a square port engine, you gotta press the pipes into a square. It makes a lot more hours if it's a nice round fit, which is good. A lot of aftermarket heads have a round port, so that's good. We got our collectors there upstairs. We got some V bands for the back of the collector. So here we go. Let's make a set of headers for the Monaro. Okay, so we've rushed along a little bit here with our pipes, and I've done the two. Those of you guys been paying attention know that the two at the back here around the steering box are very tricky, very tight. I'll put the hoist down in a second, show you that. So that's that to our collector. So I couldn't really film and do it. It took all my concentration. There's a nice big collector. She's of 3.5 inch out the back, 4x2 inch inlets. Nice fit. You'll see that the gearbox is the lowest point. The collectors sit up nice. That was achieved by a cross member. I got a 20mm spacer in there just to hold that where I want it, so that my collector's nice and square and straight while I build my pipes. And you can see I got lots of clearance on my floor, so my floor doesn't get hot. And so they run up there. So that's the two hardest ones out of the way. I just realized I don't have a starter motor, so I need the starter motor in place so that I know where the other two pipes can run. So I can finish that side, which will be next week. And then the passenger side is pretty easy. You've got heaps of room for that. So I'll cut this off and bring the hoist down and show you the top side and what I did to get around the steering box. Alright, here we go. So you can see these were our difficult pipes. What I've done is relieved the pipe with linisher, and we'll put a little section there. It does decrease the diameter of the pipe, not by a huge amount. So it's actually not too bad. These pipes are a little oversized for the motor that we're doing anyway, so that we can afford to lose a little bit. It's not ideal to lose it on the first bend out of the header like that, especially going down. Gas primarily wants to go up, but we've got to live with it. There's no other way around it. So there's a scallop in that pipe, and there's a scallop in the back pipe, but that gives us nice clearance around our steering box. You see how nice Woolwood master there that we did in the last episode. So that's our two difficult ones. These next two have got heaps of room to move. So that's it's still smooth sailing from here on. They definitely won't be tuned length. I'll do my best to get them as close, but in this circumstance with such a tight fit, we ain't going to be worrying about tune length. It's not going to matter too much with the nitrous setup. For what we're doing, it's not going to matter at all. So they'll work well. I've found my experience in dyno testing and stuff I've done over the years that the collector design is more important than the tube length anyway. I'm pretty confident. I'm very confident these headers will work. I've done worse things to make headers fit and still made good power, so they'll work fine. The other side over here is it's a breeze. You've got heaps of room. So we're running with an individual runners, slip collectors, so you'll be able to do each runner at a time, because if you're trying to get that runner in and out, that header as one in and out of there ain't going to happen. So individually, yeah, we'll be able to. So that'll be that. I'll next week you'll see we'll do more of the headers. Hopefully next week I can have all 8 pipes run. Fingers crossed, that's the plan. So there we go. I'll get back to it. Something a bit different for you guys in the shop here. This has actually been in the shop for a long time. I've been really busy and not got a chance to finish it, but we are just finishing it off now, so it'll be just about to leave the shop. It's a Cobra kit car with no body on it, obviously, and this one's got a 4.6 quad cam Mustang supercharged motor in it. Pretty cool little setup. I like how the engine builder signs their name on the engine. Normally we used to do them at LS. I used to do a lot of these. They're a chassis. The monocoque shell was built by Design Motorsport, but they had a Jag front end in them originally, and their own little sort of version of Commodore inspired rear end originally, and to be honest they handled like pig, so I actually redesigned the front end and the rear end on them. This is one of my setups. Eventually I went on to build my own chassis and everything for my design from scratch, but there wasn't a huge market there. I only ever did one, but yeah, click to the some pictures of the Cobra that I built. the Cobra class, it actually absolutely, Chevy dog, it absolutely dominated. Previous to that, these things absolutely dominated against the competition, so just kept building a faster car for the competition wasn't there. But I'll go over a few things. That's our anti-roll bar setup I did. That's my upper arms I designed and made. So yeah, it's a Jag upright. At the moment, this one's just got dummy steering on it. Because we're still messing around, we've got to do the brake backing plates and the caliper mount and all that sort of stuff. We just get this one rolling. Yeah, we've got the shock in there. Manufacture all the brackets, the lower arm, everything like that. Then if you go to the rear end's pretty cool. So sort of the front end works really good. I fixed a lot of issues with the geometry. Converting to Heim joints is a big plus. The Jag front end, it's really hard to get good bushings for them. So with the Jag setup, every time you're braking and under brakes, the wheel pushes back and changes all your wheel alignment, your toe in, your toe out, your cast, your camber. Everything moves around on the rubber bushes. So the Heim joints and the stronger arms and everything. I actually use not much gets through here without getting a bit of HT or G on it, that's for sure. These are actually a HG Holden, a lower ball joint flipped around to run in the upper. The funky little mount setup that I designed for the top there. The bottom is a Jag ball joint through a plate there. So yeah, just utilising bits that I know work well. Then we go to the rear. The rear is pretty cool. We laser cut the by design logo, and for these guys that were doing these cars originally, there's a Watts link in there. It's we'll go underneath there. There we go. So there's a 4-link that I designed, and it's actually a cradle. So I built a cradle for these cars that really hard to get far enough away to see. It's got a bit of RHS in there now, whereas the shock's not in there. So you got the Watts link. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's instead of a Pennard rod, when the suspension of a car goes up and down, it creates an arc like that with a Pennard rod, or you have a triangulated bars on the top like the old cars, so it's something to stop the diff going side to side in the car. The problem with triangulated, wherever the center line of those points that stop the diff going side to side in the car, wherever they cross the center line, that height is your roll center. So that's where your body roll of your car will come. The higher it is, the more the car will body roll. So triangulated things like HQs and Tiranas and stuff that run off the top of the diff are very high roll center. Hence, they don't handle very well. Later model cars like from the VB Commodore onwards had a Pennard rod down the bottom, so it was a low roll center, so they handled a lot better. But the problem you get then is that arc as the suspension goes up and down, the diff moves side to side, and you've probably all seen like healthy VL turbos at the drags and stuff, and they launch and the things just kick sideways out of the hull. A big part of that is the Pennard rod doing that. So a Watts link is actually, I built this one, or we built it here in the factory, so I give my guys credit. They worked very hard on this. I've designed this one up, and the boys have put it together with me. There's it's really hard to see in there, there's a rocker in there. So basically what happens is you've got an arm, it's really hard to get away far enough. So there's an arm in that side and an arm out that side, and a rocker assembly in the middle. So as the suspension goes up and down, this rocker rocks back and forth. So what happens is the diff goes up and down almost pretty much dead straight. Then if you really focus on it, it has a very slight S as it goes up, but it's that minimal you can't even notice, as opposed to a Pennard with a big arc on it. So because this cancels out the arc of this arm, so it's allowed to go up and down. Now the beauty of this is two different ways to do it. If you look at like EL Falcons had a Watts link, I think, but it was welded to the back of the diff, and then that's a fixed point. So we talked just a second ago about that roll center. When you put the pivot of the Watts link on the car, this is mounted to the car, when you brake, the back of the car lifts up. The diff stays the same because it's attached to the wheels on the ground. So when you lift this, if you were to adjust it, put it up higher, it lifts the roll center, which when you lift the roll center of a car coming into a corner, it puts more grip on the front wheels. When you accelerate and squat the car, you lower the roll center. This whole back of the car moves down and squats, and a lower roll center gives more grip, especially coming out of a corner accelerating, gives more grip to the rear tires. So mounting the pivot to the car actually gives you a floating roll center, and that floating roll center favors braking and favors acceleration. It enhances both of them. So you're crazy if you're building a little circuit car not to put the pivot on the car, in my opinion anyway. So it's a 9-inch housing. There's a lot of bracketry to make the Watts Link work properly. You see a nice little full link setup that are built. Gripping these things is insane. Traction is it's absolute traction monster. At one stage there was 3 or 4 of these that I'd built all together racing at the same time, and we had a private excuse me, I'm just trying to get a better spot for you. We had a private track day once, circuit day, and there was like Lamborghinis and Ferraris and Porsches and everything there, and these little Cobras just annihilated everything that was there. So they handle really good, and that's the trick behind it. As you can see, I don't just do leaf springs. Suspension geometry is my thing. And yeah, these I haven't done. This is the first one of these I've done for years. It was a car that was old stock by design that just recently got bought. I think they've stopped producing them now. It's been a bit of a pain with this big engine in there, but my job was just to get the suspension sorted out and mount the engine and gearbox. So there you go, something a bit different for our start off. There you go. You got any questions, just ask me, and now I'm going to get back in the Monaro. So there you go, we just run over that. Yeah, obviously they're not weld porn welds, but they're also something we manufacture hundreds and hundreds of. So we like to keep them practical, neat, and time effective, and they get powder coated as well. So they're all very structurally sound. As you can see, they're all pretty neat. They're got some nice colour on that one. Nice welds. So yeah, go over a few things. As I've said earlier, you see, even after finish weld, my tungsten sharp. I would even sharpen that again now. Rule number 1 is get comfortable. Rule number 2, keep the tungsten sharp. And that's a good friend of mine taught me how to TIG weld many years ago, and that was his schooling. Rule number 1, rule number 2, keep the tungsten sharp and stay comfortable. Thanks, Lockie. You taught me how to TIG, and I've never looked back. And so tungsten. Obviously, we were argon gas. We got a Series 2 wire here. These are steel. The most important thing here is to keep everything clean, like to get everything clean when you start. I've showed you through before the 3M clean and strip the purple wheels. We clean all of the steel down before we weld it. That is, yeah, the ultimate. You've got to have clean steel to weld nice. And to get a nice welder, it doesn't matter too much. I'm actually just using a Chinese welder here at the moment, an Everlast machine. Yeah, it's more your preparation. Now, something that I will show you, it just so happens as a... So once you get your... I'll just turn the machine off so you can hear me. Once you get... I'm going to draw diagrams here. Once you get, everything's right. Your steel's clean, you've got the right wire, the right tungsten, your tungsten's sharp, you're comfortable. Then a neat weld comes down. So we're welding a corner weld here. The tungsten is going to pull away at the metal. This is expanded, zoomed in. Pull away at the metal. So if you don't add enough wire, you'll get that, and you'll actually see this section here, which is called undercut. Now that is the weakest of the welds. So if you imagine this steel was this thick, right? The undercut section from there to there is very thin. So it's actually thinner than the original metal. So your weld's going to be quite weak. So if you go too far like that, you'll have a not necessarily a good penetrator weld, but also usually what happens when you go too far is you filler rod hooks around like that, and you get this ugly shadow under the weld there. So our ideal shape, some people like it to be slightly curved that way, and some people like it to be slightly curved that way. Depends on what you're doing and the look of it. I've got too many diagrams on there now. I tend to like a weld that's just slightly curved in that way, and then you just layer the. So if we had a 3D view, which will work out quite well if I've got a 3D view, because the other part of a neat weld is the straight line along the edge of the weld. So that comes from when you dab your wire. So you want to dab the wire, but also you want to hold the tungsten. You want to run the tungsten along very smooth and straight in that corner. If you're going like this, the edge of that weld is going to go like that. So you want to try to keep everything steady. So once everything's right, your temperature's right, your material's clean, you got everything going in your favor, then you want to keep the tungsten moving. Some people jump the tungsten. I do. It depends on what I'm welding. Sometimes I'll jump the tungsten too. But a really, really neat weld comes when you can just get that tungsten to move very smooth and very straight at just the right speed. And then you want to add it. It's almost like playing the drums. Dunk, dunk, dunk. You want to add the wire in a pattern so you get that nice even. And when everything comes together, you'll have a really nice straight edge along the edge of your weld. This you can't do it with, but a lot of times with a corner weld, they call it, some people walk the cup as they weld, and some people drag the cup. Some people say you shouldn't touch the cup on the job. Sometimes on a corner weld, you can actually just slide the cup gently along and it'll give you a nice straight edge. Different strokes for different folks. Depends on what you're used to. Walking the cup on aluminium generally gets you a nice job. So there's some handy little pointers. Hopefully I'll get more and more in the tech tip stuff with the welding, because you guys really like it. So there you go. My weld went crooked at the end. That gives you a little descriptive. If you're already set up and practicing at home, try to practice keeping that tungsten smooth, and try to get that wire feed nice and neat and even. And what I was saying here with the concave, convex, adding the right amount of wire. If it's not enough wire, it'll undercut. If it's too much wire, it'll protrude. So temperature and amount of wire will control this. Steady hand and a bit of rhythm will control this. And at the end of the day, you're not even going to get near worrying about these if you don't have clean steel and a sharp tungsten and the right wire and the right tungsten and the right gas. So I'll keep getting into these things with you guys more and more in depth as we go. So hopefully that one's just a few little pointers for you to take on.
Follow white rabbit. I'm taking potions, call me Alice.